Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Spartanburg. We're excited to be here after a couple days of rookie camp. Get the vets in, get through all the physicals, all the prelim stuff, and get out here and get to work. So I'll open it up from there.
Frank, what was it like walking down the hill as the head coach many years after walking down that hill as a player? What were your thoughts and emotions?
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's like one of those things that's kind of personal, and I realize that's only personal to me, but no doubt it means a little something extra to me. Coach Capers and I have had a few of those conversations, so great to be back.
What are you able to take away from Bryce on day one, since it's day one?
Good carryover from OTAs mentally and physically. Just thought really on offense, all the players, there was really good mental carryover. Very few mental mistakes out there today, so I thought we did a good job.
Did you think Bryce threw the ball on time today, Frank?
I thought he threw the ball, on time. There were a couple throws you guys probably saw. There was one or two that was super early, completion to DJ Chart, on a deep out route. Got a little pressure, had to get it out super early. Great to show the ability to do that. There's sometimes it doesn't always come out the way you draw it up, but there was a couple examples of that today.
Frank, what it jumps out at you about him, maybe away from the field, just as a person? What is the first thing that kind of comes to mind about him?
Well, I heard Scott say something. I watched a little bit of what Scott said earlier. The other day. Well, Bryce will fool you now. Because he's got this quiet demeanor. But I like the way Scott said it. This is a grown man. This is a stinking grown man, and he's in control. He knows what he wants and how he wants it done, and I think that's a good place to start from. That's a
The humility factor, too.
Yeah, the humility factor, right? I mean, we look for that in all our players. It's huge, right? I mean, we always talk about this. We understand most players got the confidence thing down, right? So we're looking for players who got that humility because that just that gives you the mindset, the growth mindset that we're looking for to keep getting better.
In the interest of having this question not asked 100 times, is he QB1 from now and then we're good to go?
Yes, he's QB1. He is QB1.
Frank, just in terms of his progression from when you first got him at rookie camp to now, is he where you want him to be, ahead of where you thought he'd be, behind?
I think we've made good progress. I think Bryce has made good progress. You can just tell he and the whole group on offense. Just speaking about how we've progressed things with an offense. You can just tell everybody's feeling more comfortable with it. Certainly Bryce is as well. So I feel good about where he's at. We got a long way to go. I mean, it's day one, and I know you guys all understand that, but like where we're at.
How important was it to get Brian Burns back out there, especially with installing the 3-4 here at training camp?
Can't say enough of what it feels like that Deuce and I were standing out there saying that, and I'm standing behind the offense when we get in our team drills, and when all of a sudden you look out there and you see Brian Burns standing on the end line of scrimmage, like, we better be ready to play ball. Now, good thing we got Icky out there, and so we feel like that's a pretty good matchup. But two really good players. But and then the other thing, right, we're all just getting to know each other, but just in the short time, because Brian didn't take a whole lot. Obviously in OTAs, but just the leadership. His leadership. He's got a different style of leadership that I think we all feel.
How'd you feel like you and the coaches communicated on day one and putting the practice together and executing that?
Yeah, it was good. We were a little bit ahead of schedule, on time, at good tempo. Felt like Thomas and EJ and Tabor, really did a good job of setting up, and keeping things on pace, on time, keeping the guys focused. And then ultimately, it's in the players' hands. They got to make it go and execute, get the right tempo that we're looking for in the walkthrough in the morning, and then, when we get out here first day, we're not in pads yet, but still get a good tempo and get good work done.
Dante cleared, he's physical, but are you guys working him back as far as practice reps are concerned?
Yes, absolutely. So we had, right, you guys heard Scott say that, right, everybody passed the physical except obviously the 4 PUP guys, but, of all the guys that passed the physical, there's probably 3 or 4 or 5 of those guys who they're full go, but we're going to progress them just because of the nature of their injury and where, what was done or not done in the off season. So we'll kind of ramp them up and monitor them along the way, building back. But they are full speed and can do everything.
How good specifically to have Dante and JC progressing from health-wise?
Yeah, it feels great. I mean, Dante's got that swag. We know he's a good player, got the skill, got the mindset that you need to play out there in the corner and in that secondary. So the way that the depth of our secondary is, again, it's early, but you got to have depth there, and you got to have depth out there. So I feel good about that group.
Frank, when you say that Bryce is QB1, is there any part of you that's surprised that you're able to say it that confidently this early in his development?
No, there's no. I always felt like Scott and I and the coaching staff, when we decided to pick Bryce, we imagined and saw the vision that we'd be standing here today saying he's QB1. Yeah, good question. Like a guy with Yetur making that position switch, just progress. That's really, it's kind of the adage, 1% better. Let's just, and now that when we get into pads, right? So we can't get in pads until next Monday, I think it is. So, but just show the mental side of it, like I'm locked in. And now when we get the pads on, show the physical side of it, right? I mean, that position is a little bit different for him and what we're asking him to do from physically. So it'll be good to see him get an opportunity to when we get in pads.
Said that he felt like the energy yesterday was really good with the team coming in. I wanted to get your assessment of that and in a way you kind of compare that to any of the teams you coached or played with at this point in the season in your career.
Yeah, great question. Probably wouldn't compare. Really don't want to get into the comparing thing, but it was really good energy. And right, that's what we said earlier. It's got to come from the players, right? And I just think that there is a mentality and an excitement of, hey, we like the guys in our room. We like the guys in the locker room. I think we like the coaching staff. So, like JC said the other day, according to most outlets, nobody's really expecting very much. So, let's just go about it day by day. Let's just get better, prove ourselves every day, and find a way to be ready to go week 1 against Atlanta.
Frank, Camus had an interception today. Obviously, when you guys were together in Philly, he was more of a special teams guy. How much has he kind of grown from a communication standpoint, having that starting experience elsewhere, and a playmaking standpoint?
I mean, yeah, phenomenal interception today, right? You guys saw it. I mean, I was standing behind the offense. Camus made a great play, great anticipation, great play on the ball, big time play. I just think he's playing with confidence. He's just played a lot of football. He came into the league and really made a name for himself as a special teams player, as a guy who's you have to deal with on teams. But then he's really taken that to a new level playing linebacker. So he plays fast, he's instinctive, he's smart, and then he can make plays on the ball like you saw today.
With Laviska, we've seen you in the past use kind of Paris Campbell and Naheem Hines as kind of like a Texas route, kind of move around type of guy. Is Laviska Shenault the guy you could use in that role?
Well, yeah, we do think that Laviska is a guy that can be versatile. So, and I think as an offensive staff, we've all had experience with guys that we've had, right? But, we have to look at Laviska, for him, and and how it fits in our offense. So, we'll dip our toe in the water on some of that stuff and see how it goes. And that's something that doesn't have to be in full bloom week 1. That can be in the beginning stages in training camp, and then the more success and momentum it gets, you build it. So that'd be more likely the path.
Frank, as a head coach, will it require a certain level of maybe extra patience starting a rookie quarterback week 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think patience is good, period, right? I don't want to, and this is really hard to do. It's hard to do as a coach. It's hard to do as a player. It's hard to do as media and fans. We want to keep our expectations on the process, right? And not try to make too much of any one play or any one game. And so I just think that's wisdom. That's good coaching. That's good playing. When we have a bad play, nobody's going to panic. And Bryce knows he's going to feel that from our staff. Like that's already been said. Hey, you're the guy. let's go. Don't, there's going to be some ups and downs, but nobody's going to try to predict how it's going to play out the first year. You just don't know. So as coaches and players, we're going to make every attempt to avoid doing that.
Coach, Hayden Hurst said yesterday that this was the place he wanted to be, the role he wanted to be. How did you see, what did he look like today? And then talk about the rest of the tight end group as well. What did you see from them?
Yeah, Hayden looked good. He was limited, right, much of the offseason. So, and he's one of those guys who has he's got a lot of energy, juice, passion. You feel it out there. So, he's a versatile player. We really see Hayden as a guy who can do it all at that position. And that whole room, though, we're excited about. They all have a role. We like that. They each have certain strengths that we can emphasize, and we'll continue to talk to that room about. We have big plans for them. But we got to roll it out day by day.
Frank, a lot of players mentioned yesterday in talking to them just the aspect of staying here on campus and getting that camaraderie. How important is that, and how has that been in addition to everybody being here and reporting with so many new pieces around?
Yeah, every stage of preparation for the season is important. And I think the nice thing about training camp, when you walk in there last night, like, we all know what time it is. It's training camp. This is where you bond. This is where we iron things out. This is where we take the next step of preparation. And, so it's important, and appreciate the players embracing that. We give them a bunch of free time as well in the evening, to allow them time to study together, time to hang out together. So that's all part of it.
Frank, what do you think about Mingo's possible role this season, and how has he looked so far?
He's going to have to earn it. I mean, he looks good so far. Mentally and emotionally and physically, he's at a good spot. But again, and I've found this over and over again with receivers, that we haven't put the pads on yet. So you got to get the pads on. Now, he's a big physical guy, so I think he's just going to get better with the pads on. That's what we're hoping for. But really done a good job. What I like about Jonathan is not too high, not too low, just kind of steady, works hard, and excited about him.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Hold on, David. We're going to take 2 more questions. David and John Ellis. It seems like there's a comfort level that Adam Thielen brings to that group out there. What do you like about what he's brought to the
Adam is like another coach on the field. He steps in the huddle, he's making sure everybody's on the same page, and then he's leading by example with how he plays. So the consummate pro and playmaker, really, really glad he's here.
John?
Frank, you talked about a while back on a documentary that everybody seems about the tempo you played with in Buffalo under, of course, Mark Levy. Is there anything you emphasize as a coach in terms of tempo here on this first practice? Is that something that's in your mind? It's kind of a broad phrase here, but in terms of when you look at the game, when you look at the scheme and the flow of practice, is tempo something you think about coming out here?
Yeah, the analogy I've always used is the tempo is like an old school boxing match, right? Not the like new cage stuff, although I'm sure that's cool too. But like the old Ali versus Frazier, there's a tempo that you fight with, and sometimes you turn the tempo up, and sometimes you turn it down, and sometimes you're just trying to get out of the round and survive, and then sometimes you got them on the ropes and you put your foot on the gas. So that's kind of the way we look at it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.